Welcome to queenon7.com. Please like, share and subscribe my videos. Today we're going to look at the reactant masses and equations. Now you have done in the previous video how to calculate moles by using the equation N is equal to M over Mr, where M is the given mass of the substance and Mr you can find it from the periodic table. Today we are looking at the reacting masses. For reacting means the masses of substance reacting together. So whatever is going to react together, we're going to look at that and whatever they're going to produce. So the masses can be related to reactants or products. You do know that in chemistry we actually know that reactants are converted into products. So you can have, for example, A plus B is equal to C plus D. So you have reactants and products. If I give you 10 grams of one of the reactant, we can actually predict how much you need for the B reactant to react with A in order to make C and D. What I mean is, when you look at the reactants and products, you have two things to do. So for example, if they give you a question like this, how much mass of hydrogen gas produced when 100, or you can just say 100 gram G, 100 gram of magnesium metal reacted with HCl, which is hydrochloric acid. Now, what we're going to do for these sort of questions, I need you to take you step by step. So the first step, you will do what you have done before, like when you calculated the Mr. For example, if you have sodium, its atomic mass is 23. You can see on the periodic table there are two numbers. So the big top number is the atomic mass. So what you're going to do is, if I say NaCl, then that means that's going to be 23 plus 35.5 for chlorine, and the answer is 58.5. That is called relative formula mass. So you will be looking at how to calculate the formula mass first. In these sort of questions, when you look at them, what you need to do is you will be looking at how we're going to calculate the masses theoretically first. So what I would do is I will actually go back and I will say to the equation, I will look at the equation first. So equation will be given, it is producing magnesium chloride and hydrogen gas. Now to understand these questions, you always underline it. What are the two species involved in this chemical reaction? One is 100 gram of magnesium is given. So you got 100 grams, which is actually the mass of magnesium. Second, that they ask you how much mass of hydrogen gas is produced. So this is actually in question. Now the first part, what we're going to do, we calculate it theoretically. Now theoretically means we will calculate the atomic mass. So the first step is calculate the atomic mass or relative masses of magnesium and hydrogen from the periodic table. So magnesium is equal to 24, so it's going to be 24 grams. Hydrogen, on the other hand, is equal to 1 times 2, so that's 2 grams. To balance it, you have to put 2 there. So in these two species, you can actually go back to periodic table, you look for the big number, and then you can predict whatever the number comes out, it is 24 grams. Whatever the number comes for hydrogen is 2 grams. hydrogen's atomic mass is actually 1, but because there are 2 hydrogen atoms, so we will call it as 2 grams. Now, once you got that, that actually tells you, number 1, what's the first result? 24 grams, so this is theoretical, like you're looking at from the periodic table. 24 grams of magnesium, which is actually obtained from the periodic table, will produce 2 grams of hydrogen. So I haven't done anything special in this case. What you need to do next part, if 24 grams is producing 2 grams, you probably know that in mathematics, then 1 gram of magnesium will produce 2 divided by 24 grams of hydrogen. All I did is I divided both sides by 24, and that becomes 1 gram and 2 divided by 24. The next step is the question. I'll go back to the question. In the C part, what I need to do, I need to go back to the question. What they said is, if you use 100 grams, not 24, not 1 gram, if you use 100 grams, how much hydrogen will be produced? All you have to do is you times the whole equation by 100. 100 gram of magnesium will be 2 divided by 24 times 100 grams of H2 will be produced. So whatever the answer is going to come in grams, and that is the amount of hydrogen you produce. Now what we're going to look at, we're going to take another example which is pretty straightforward, but it's slightly different. How much mass of oxygen gas required when 100 gram of, let's just say magnesium metal reacted, when 100 gram of magnesium reacted with oxygen to produce magnesium plus O2, produce MgO, nothing else. So 2 mg is balanced. So this is the question, and all you have to do is you have to look at the question. The question is slightly different, but I would insist you to understand it. It doesn't matter whether they ask you how much you have produced. If they ask you that you have 2 reactants, one is given and other is missing, it's not a big problem. Magnesium is given 100 grams again. Oxygen is in question this time. Before in the question, one of the product was in question, but the rule is going to be the same. You will calculate the theoretical value of the masses of magnesium and oxygen first. So when I say magnesium this time, magnesium's atomic mass is 24. So I would actually times it by 2, because there are, in the equation I can see there's a number 2 written in front of magnesium, so that's gonna be 48 grams. Then I will say oxygen, O2, on the periodic table. If you see the periodic table, it will be like this. O is in the group 6, and the number written on top of oxygen is 16 and 8. You use the big number, which is atomic mass. In this case, I will write down 16, and that belongs to only 1 oxygen. Because there are 2, so you times by 2. So it is 32 grams. So these values actually calculated from the, from the periodic table. Now again, A part, what's the first step you do? You will take these values, you will say 48 grams of magnesium will react with 32 grams of oxygen. And then you would say 1 gram of magnesium will react with 32 divided by 48 grams of oxygen. And because your question says 100 grams, you say 100 grams of magnesium, because this was your question. That's all theoretical. So you said 32 divided by 48 times 100 grams of oxygen. So whatever the answer is going to come out from there, that will be the answer. That will be the amount of oxygen will react with magnesium in order to produce the magnesium oxide. So I'm going to summarize that again. That reacting masses means that you are going to look at masses of reactants or products. The question can be either find out the mass of the reactants or the products. You have questions like that they will give you the mass of one of them, and you have to predict it by using the equation. The equation will be given. It should be balanced equation. From the equation, you will find out, so whatever the two species are actually in question, you underline them. One of the mass will be given and one is actually in question. After this, you will find out their atomic masses or formula masses, relative formula mass from the periodic table. You will see that you have been given 48 gram and 32 gram because magnesium is 24, oxygen is 16. They both have got number 2 written in front of them or after them, so that will be times by 2. You got the mass from the periodic table. Once you've done that, you have 3 steps to do. Number 1, you would use these values as say 48 grams theoretically produce 32 grams of oxygen, react with 32 grams of oxygen. Then you would say 1 gram will actually produce 32 divided by 48 grams of oxygen, and after that 100 grams, which is your question, that how much oxygen you need to react with 100 grams of magnesium. So you actually times it by 100. Whatever the answer is going to come out, that much oxygen you need to react with the magnesium. Please do not skip this video, watch it completely, and next video I will be explaining titration, concentration and calculating titration. Thank you very much.